Welcome out with a Finn as I continue building my DIY campervan. In this episode I will install all the electrical components such as battery, inverter, solar panels, charger, fuse box and so much more. So let's get into it. And we are back at the garage. And before we continue with the build, let's do a short recap of the previous episode. So last time we teared down the whole interior of the van. I insulated the complete van with thin foam XPS board, pulled the cables under the floor and installed the plywood for the floor. I also installed additional high beams and a roof vent. Now the van looks like this, and we have a long way still to go to get the van finished. But first things first, we need to go shopping, because I need a lot of equipment for the van. So I went and bought all the plywood I think I'll need in the process. I will cover the walls with thin plywood, this is 5 millimeters, and use a thicker plywood to cover the wheel arches as well as make the kitchen area and stuff. But listen. Good thing that it started squeaking already now, before I have the floor covered. I need to put a few screws to that. I should probably add a plastic pipe here so that these cords won't get damaged. They are quite exposed there. And this is exactly the reason why I label each tip of these cords. Once I have to make adjustments like this and remove all the cords from its place, I still know which cable is which. So now I have this plastic pipe running through here, making sure that this path here doesn't damage the wires. I mean, building in a van is always really tricky because the van is never like completely straight. There are some really weird spots like everywhere. This will help in the building process a little bit. Oh man, this is so handy. So I need to cover the downside of this wall with plywood before I can continue. mean, it definitely fades. I still have to remove that, oil it, and then put it back on place. So after working for 5 hours today, nothing changed in the van. This is the most painful part of building the van, when you do so much work but nothing goes forward. I just spent so much time today planning and doing that one wood panel, but I remember from my last van it was the same thing. At times it felt like it didn't move anywhere. So I will cover the whole floor with this huge piece of plastic mat. I checked for multiple different options on my previous van and I came to the conclusion that this is the best solution for a camper van like this. Because it's one solid plastic mat, if something falls on it, for example, I drop a coffee mug or something, I can just wipe it off easily. There are no cracks or anything where the water could go. Also, it won't move, squeak, anything. It will stay on place once I've glued it on there. And it was relatively cheap. There we go. I mean, these corners, especially the wheel arches, here and here, those are not perfect, not even close. But thankfully I'm gonna hide them under the wheel arches, and I can use this kind of lista to hide all these edges here. So it's a new day. These dried overnight and they're now nice and dry. So let's start by gluing the mat on place. I'm just going to use this spray glue. I have here a piece of wood and a cloth over it. I'll use this just to make the attachment firm. So the floor is in place. Oh, thankfully I noticed it now. I still have to do a few things behind here. I'm a little bit too excited with the build. I need to remove this hook. And I need to add insulation here. So I'm using sheep wool to insulate all these tight places. If it collects any moisture, it will also breathe it out. But the thing is that I can't pack these too tightly. I have to leave some air in there, because if they are just too tightly packed, they won't breathe at all. Feels amazing to have the first plywood on place. But don't worry, that won't be the final color of the walls. I'm just using that sauna wax to protect the wood from moisture. I will cover the whole van with plywood and then I will carpet over it. Now that's really straight. So there we have it, our first structural beam attached. I have it attached to the chassis here, and then I just use that kind of bracket down there. Oi, 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 oi. Ah, man. Hopefully the laser didn't break. That was quite the fall. Seems to be working. Need to be a bit more careful next time. And once again, I just need to remove that whole thing, oil it, and then put it back to place. Now meanwhile those are drying, let's go ahead and build the structure around the other wheel arches. Getting these wheel arches hidden will be a big step in the project. That looks so amazing. Now this episode is brought to you by Renogy. They sponsored me all the important electronic components for the van build. So here is everything Renogy sent me. I have 2 solar panels, 240 amp hour lithium battery, a 50 amp hour DC-DC charger with MPPT, meaning that it handles both charging via the alternator of the car and the solar panels, and a 3000 watt inverter charger. I have the battery in place, but this is a bit wobbly. Now that's way better. And this is the fuse box I'll be using. It is the exactly same fuse box that I have in my other van. So there we have it, every main electrical component. We have the battery, we have the charger, and we have the inverter, and the fuse box. No, we have an issue. Look. That part of the door is so long that it hits the inverter. Oh shoot, so I need to rethink this a bit. Let's hope that's good there. Alright, so I moved the fuse box and the charger a little bit as well so that they are not on top of the battery. With this extension cord, I'm able to pull the power to the kitchen area here. Yesterday it felt like we didn't get anything done, but today the project took a huge leap forward. I mean, look at this. Both of the wheel arches are now covered and I have all the electric components in place. I think next up I just need to start wiring this up, and that is the most fun part of the van build in my opinion. So what I have to do with all these cables is just cut them to the correct length, peel the plastic off, add a piece of shrink tube, then I'll put this kind of a tip to the cable, squeeze it there properly, and heat up the shrink tube. And now I can attach the positive and the negative to the fuse box. And of course label it. And there we have the first cable in the fuse box. After I have done all, I need to go and buy correct size fuses still. And of course connect the minus and positive to the laser battery. Now I just have to repeat that to all these cables. We have a fan, pump, fridge, charger number 1, diesel heater, ceiling lights, charger number 2, and a gas alarm. All these cables are attached to the fuse box. No fuses yet, and I have a lot of wiring to do, but it's nice to get these cables out of the way. It's not the cleanest, like you see. There is a huge mess with the cables, but I'm gonna try to tidy up that a bit. And I think I did a solid job there. I'm planning on putting 2 LED strips to the ceiling, and I want to be able to dim them. So this right here is the dimmer, and I'll already install it between the cables here. Now this right here is the fuse box for all utilities, lights, fan, etc. But with the battery, the charger and the inverter, I went with this kind of automatic fuses. Let me show you how they work. So what's great about these is that it's an automatic fuse, meaning that you don't have to replace the entire fuse if it breaks. It snaps open like this, and you can close it back. Also, this means that I can even press this little button and it works as a breaker as well. So if I have to do any kind of maintenance in the system, I can just press all the fuses open like this. There won't be electricity going through, which means that I can maintain the system without needing to remove any cables. And these are really simple. I just put the cord in here and cover it up with these. So this is how the laser battery gets charged when I'm driving. I need to still connect this little cable to the fuse box, so it gives a signal right here. This is the same cable. It gives a signal to this charger that the car is turned on. Then it will start pulling power through this cable here into the charger and out from here to the battery. Now of course I still need to connect the negatives, but before that let's try to install the inverter. My issue is that these are the tips that I'm supposed to squeeze the cable, and I don't have proper pliers. The cable is this large. It's 95 millimeter thick cable, and it goes through a 300 amp hour fuse. And that's not it. I still have another issue because these don't fit to the fuse. The table is too thick, so let's modify the table a little bit. Let's see if this is strong enough. Okay, it doesn't even need to be attached. Oh no! Look at that! Oh, that's bad. That stays on! Yes! Okay, this is maybe not the best method of doing it, but as long as this stays attached firmly, we're fine. I think this won't go through with scissors anymore. Let's see. Don't take example of me, guys. But yeah, although I was able to cut this with scissors, it made such a mess there that I can't fit this to the cable anymore. So I need to go to the shop and buy proper pliers. I went and bought these huge cable cutters. Oh yeah, that is so much better. Alright, I have the inverter plugged in, so let's do a small test run. It turned on! That's great! I went too safe with the cables, so they are a little bit too large rather than too small. Because you can always have overly thick cables, but never too thin. So I went with overly big cables on this one. I have all positive cables now connected to the battery. So I just made a small modification to this cover here. I have the main battery cable coming through right here, and this one goes to the lesser battery. Now I'm not exactly sure if I could have just pulled the main battery to the lesser battery, because this is just like negative port, and then pull one negative cable here, but I decided to do it the same way I did it in my previous van. Now after a little bit of tidying up, the whole electrical system right here is installed. But it's functional, not pretty. But I still have to connect the cables to the starter battery of the van. So this right here will send the signal through there, under here, all the way here, connecting to this red cable, under there, all the way here. And it gives the charger the signal when the car is turned on, so it knows when to start charging. Now let's put this on here. This as well. Oh nice, it shows it's connected. In the Renogy app it shows it's currently 48.7. Let's turn on the car. Oh, let's see, does it start charging? What does that say? Oh yes! Look, it's charging with 50 amps, 2 hours 34 minutes until fully charged. Come on, yes. Yes. And now as I turn it off, yes, 0 amps. So it really turned off as well. That was a success, and I think that was enough for today. Well, good morning, it's a new day. just use this cardboard box to catch all the metal pieces from it. Yes! Now with these wooden beams I can do the cupboard later. After a few adjustments, now that's perfect. I got it aligned all perfectly here. Now meanwhile the paint is drying, I can already insulate these. Alright, all of these holes align pretty much perfectly. I have to just make a few adjustments. So let's take this off now, oil it, and then we can put it back in place. That's nice. That is so amazing. Oh wow. But like I said, I won't leave the walls brown. I will put a probably light gray carpet over that. Up here I have a cable coming for a gas alarm that I will install to the cupboard that comes here, as well as a remote switch for the inverter, so that I don't each time have to go under there, put the inverter on. Instead I'll install this here as well, so I can use this remote to control the inverter. Does the door still close? Yeah, there is no problem with that. Once I have all attached, I think this box will be really sturdy. Because the thing is that I will attach the other side of the bed to these frames, which is why I'm using these sturdy beams. If this was just like a storage unit or something like that, I wouldn't need to use these thick beams. I hope the glue that I added there, once it dries, it will stop squeaking. I think I need to add a bit more. I just use these corner brackets, if that's what they are called, to tap in all these together. And where I could, I put those really tall screws Now this whole frame is really sturdy. As I shake it, the whole van is moving and not the frame. So these are the beams that will attach to the frame and the wall on the other side. In here it should be 140 centimeters because I'm planning on doing a 140 centimeter width bed. That's 142. So my plan is to make a storage area here inside this side cupboard. So once I have the top here, there will be some kind of like opening mechanism here in the lid so that you can access this area. Please fit. Oh, that's perfect. I mean, look at that. Just perfect. I mean, there is still too much here, so I need to trim that off a little. Oh wow, look at that. I slightly rounded these corners just to make it safer, but also it gives this nice finished appeal to it. Yeah, I'm really satisfied how this turned out. It's slowly starting to look like a proper campervan. But I think this is enough for today. Let's hope that tomorrow I could finally install the solar panels and make the roof rack. It's a new day. I didn't receive the roof rack materials yet. However, it's currently 10 a.m. and I called the company and they said that it should arrive in today's batch, meaning that in around 2 hours those should be ready for pickup. So right here I'll make one storage box that comes out like this. Okay, so I measured this really carefully, but apparently, look, this beam is a little bit off from down when it's perfect from up here. So this beam right here is a little bit tilted towards there, because the plywood itself is perfectly square. I need to go and buy more of this stuff and rebuild it. I just tapped it in with a few screws. I still need to remove it for painting, but this just makes it a lot easier for the build. Also, I had to do a second one because the first one failed. So this really was a piece of work. But now this comes through here easily. I can open the door even completely and then it closes properly. But I have great news. I just got a message that the roof rack material are ready for pickup. So let's go get those and start building the roof rack finally. So here we have it. I'm going to make a DIY roof rack out of these aluminium bars. So I chose aluminium because it's really lightweight and I wanted it to be painted at the shop because it didn't even cost that much extra and it just has a professional look. I went with aluminium because it does not rust and it's super lightweight. However, this is not your regular aluminium pipe that you can buy from every store. Those are usually 1 millimeter in thickness. This one is 2.5 or was it even 3 millimeters in thickness. So this one is really sturdy. Now thankfully I brought these ladders from my off-grid cabin build site. Don't need to parkour on top of the car anymore. So you can see there are 1, 2, 3, 4 on each side with these pre-made attachment points for a roof rack. My idea is to put one of these on each so that it raises the bars above the curvature of the roof. There is a little bit of curvature in the roof, but not too bad. And then I'll have the bars run on top of these this way, and I'll install the solar panels to the bars. But what I noticed, under these caps there are no threads. I thought that there would be threads in the van ceiling, like pre-drilled threads. But yeah, I guess I just have to put a bolt underneath. So from those parts I need to remove the thin foam insulation so that I get the bolt straight attached to the roof. Alright, I got both of these beams up here and the holes line up pretty nicely. The only issue I have is that somebody needs to be in the van holding the other side of the bolt with a wrench so that I can tighten it up here. So I think I need to head home and recruit my spouse to help. Oh guys, check this out. My spouse came in the rescue and we have roof racks. Yes. Oh wow, they look so nice. Anyways, we just attached this from 4 different spots and they are really sturdily attached. They are wiggling a little bit from the top because the roof of the van is so thin that the metal bends. But once I have the solar panels here, it will connect both of these to each other and then it should not go anywhere. And I'm not planning on putting any loads here. These are supposed to just like hold together the 2 solar panels that I'm gonna put up here. And inside the van, it's a mess right here. I put a bunch of Sikaflex. This kind of, it's kind of like an installation glue designed for this. I used the same stuff with the roof vent and every other hole that was in the van. I just put a lot there where the bolt goes. I put a washer and then the bolt. So it's really pressed tightly together and there is a bunch of that Sikaflex installation glue in between. I still plan to add some on the roof and I'm also going to add like plastic tips to the end of these, so no water should be able to even go inside there. But I'm really satisfied on how this turned out. And that's the other one. Whew. I mean, they fit perfectly. And they're really rigid as well. Now, I don't have the time to install these this time because I have to get this episode out to you guys. So in the beginning of next episode I will install the solar panels here and connect them to the charger. But similarly to last episode, let's now get to the cost breakdown to see how much everything used in this part cost. So, the lesser battery was 870 euros, solar panels 450 euros, the solar panel cables and fuses were 200 euros, although I'm going to install them in the next episode, but I counted them into this one. The inverter is 270 euros, charger 220 euros, battery cables, fuses, etc. in the whole project 450 euros, roof rack with the paint 200 euros, plywood and other structural wood 500 euros, which add up to 3,160 euros for the expenses of this episode. And if we combine that to the last episode, the total up to this point is 6,070 euros. Well, thankfully Renogy was a great sponsor in this video, so I didn't have to bear the whole cost myself, but still, building a camper van like this is not a cheap task. But in the next episode I plan to finish the whole camper van, and at that point we'll get to know the cost of the whole van build. Now remember to like if you enjoyed this video and subscribe if you want to see me finish the whole van build. Also remember to check out the Renogy if you are building a van or any off-grid systems yourself. But otherwise, thank you for watching and see you on our next adventure.